PA. Maybe that's what I use.
I like it. I have really bad hormonal breakouts. It's like the only time I really ever break out. Like, hence, no, it's great.
You're like,
yeah, right now.
But do you have to wear a mask at work?
No, I work from home.
Okay.
So,
but even just like out and about, you guys, like it is, and obviously this is not like a COVID stand.
Right here, my mask ball, right here.
But I'm going to tell you, like, it's just not good for your skin. Like, to have it suffocated, like, we literally are like, oh, you have mastity? Okay, perfect. Like, it really, I mean, you're like suffocating that skin the whole time. It's just like unhealthy for it. But, yeah. Okay, what are you using?
I use this acne foaming from that brand.
Okay.
It's like the only thing
just
that
know
has,
you.
What?
Perfect.
Yeah, just know you. With that brand. It was working fantastic, and then I ran out, and then I got all these, and I was like, I need to go get that stuff again.
And that's the only thing I found that's actually like helped clear.
Yeah.
I period and I'm breaking out bad.
Yeah, and a lot of times people don't really understand. So that's why I'm like, I love that you're here, and I love that you probably know a lot of this, so it's gonna be great. But a lot of people are really uneducated, right? I love my favorite place to go is like the Miter skincare aisle. I'm like that. No, like people are just, we're walking in kind of blind. We don't really realize that. As far as, I mean, even like natural products. Right now, you guys, it has to be 3% natural in the United States to even have the word natural or organic on it. 3%. So when I talk about like things like our naturally lined and things like that, it's just crazy. So today I'm just going to kind of walk you all that. You're going to learn great things about your skin. Awesome. If you fall in love with anything, you guys are all getting little swag bags and gift certificates and everything. And then obviously I know what I think you gave me like your list. Yes. Are you using?
I use a clear proof right now, so I do the cleanser daily, sometimes twice daily, depending on when I shower, and then the moisturizer. And then
that's the Mary Kay bougie. Okay. She has a bougie style. She was like, I'm on that, and I'm on this. You're like, I use a foam and something. What she said without the Okay.
Yep, and then my foundation, I don't even remember the number, but it's ivory, and then during the summertime I use the lightest beige.
Oh, you like really changed.
Yeah. Yep.
You're like, I can get Casper, and then I'm like so dark.
Yes. It's starting to fade now. I can't use it anymore for the year, but like.
Yeah. And you know better. Like, don't be the girl. I love it. People are like, I'm like, you are not your summer color. It's not like you're orange, boo. You're like a little fun. Welcome. All right, you guys. I'm just gonna have you hide your profile. You can slip your rings back on and have you hide your profiles right underneath your laminated sheet. If I can even show you. So everything, if you like look and you're like, I use that foaming punch. Like, what is all this? You guys, I'm just gonna walk you through. Obviously, if you were to do this, everything, it would be once a week. Like, you would not do this every single day, okay? And so if you can put your hair up, it might be a little bit easier. You got a hair tie, you don't. Oh, perfect. It's like most people have it around. So what do you think right now that age that we should start an anti-aging skincare? So this isn't Brooke, this is actually dermatologists, not even Mary Kay, dermatologists and day spas around the country. What age do you actually think it is?
By now.
Okay. I like that. She's just gonna, okay, you get a ticket, but I'm looking for an age. Give me any age. What do you think it is?
25.
Okay, she gets 2 tickets for being wrong. Okay, so it's actually 16, which is people are like, oh my gosh, well, my mom looks amazing, my grandma looks awesome. I'm like, great. Well, your ozone is twice as worse than your mama's and 3 times as worse than your grandma's, so take care of your skin. So a lot of people don't think about it's where we live, so I'll be talking about all that. But what do you think the number one skin issue is? Like, why do we actually have these size masks? Why do we have skin issues? What do you think it is?
I think it's the horrible food.
Okay.
I feel like I break out more when I have more caffeine. Or,
like,
and
it does have a little bit, typically 2 or less percent is really what that's going to be when that's more like gut health. And obviously, like, I always tell my people that are like my homegirls that are working like in a fast food like McDonald's, I'm like, that environment is just disgusting, right?
Yeah.
So, but just think about, well, I kind of just gave it right. It is your environment. And if you break that down, that's dirt, dust, tar, most of our skin issues is other people's dead skin. Is that disgusting or what? Like, it is. And then I'm like, oh, and then we're like, I'm so tired, I'm gonna go to bed. I'm like, girl, you're taking like homies to your pillow. Like, you need to take those off. And so it's really important. So you guys, everything that I'm gonna show you today, most of it is gonna be anti-aging. And so honestly, girl, like, I would probably start to move you out. And I don't know how long you've been using the Clear Proof, but I'm like,
I switch between the Time Wise too.
Yeah.
I really like the
what the hell's Time Wise?
I'll just tell you.
Yeah, I use
She's like setting you up here.
I use the
Set it up,
Time
girl.
Wise cleanser, and I switch between the Clear Proof right now, because of all this,
Right.
I'll tend to use the clear proof a little bit more. But I was using the Time Wise pretty consistently in the winter time,
Okay.
especially because my skin gets really dry in the winter.
I'm gonna fill your homegirls in on what the heck you're talking about. Okay, so this is our clear proof line. It's our acne line. So that's what she's using. Are you using this guy, the blemish control toner?
Yes, I usually. Yes, I use.
Oh, see, I paid attention.
Right?
I use this, yep, and then the blemish control, especially in the acne treatment gel when needed.
Okay. This is our teen line. We're gonna pretend that we're all over 16, right? And then this is obviously our set hands that you just tried. Our naturally line is actually going to be, we set all of our ingredients. So I really say it's for like the hypersensitive or for my tree hoppers. Like you just know, you're like, I'm natural. Okay, so you just gotta know. And then the advanced anti-aging line is actually the line that I started using at night. Clearly I'm 39, so I'm like, give me the advance. Like Dr. Oz just said, if you want to stay from needles, Botox, and surgery, check out Mary Kay's Time Wise Repair. And I was like, boo, I'm listening. Okay, and then our men's line, but they're just really stealing our products without telling us. So if they do use a line, it is great though. So your Time Wise, like what the hey is Time Wise? This is what it is. It's going to be anti-aging, everything in here. So this is if you walked into mine, it would be a cleanser, a mask, a toner, and then you could find basically a brightener that would be bleach filled. So awesome. So please stay away from any brighteners that you ever find. So ours is going to be a natural brightener in there. And so this, I don't know how long yours lasts you, but I'm like, people are like way overusing their product. Mine probably lasts me about 10 months, you guys. So cut the top off and cut all the way down in there. And it's just a pea size. Like I probably gave you enough for like a year in your little tray there. So now that we know that our hands are nice and clean, let's get nice and cozy with here. Let's get nice and cozy with your new shower. You're welcome. That's your bowl of water. And what I'm going to have you do is just, if you have mascara or anything like that, leave that on. So just go ahead and forehead, cheeks, nose, and chin for me. Just wet that with your water for me, okay? Just forehead, cheeks, nose, and chin. Don't be scared of it, girl. She's like, no, not today, girl. Not today, Karen.
It just feels weird.
Yeah. And so obviously in the comfort of your own bathroom, you guys, I would actually have you go hairline. People do not go low enough to brow line.
What?
And people don't realize
I do break out of my chest.
Well, this is the second fastest aging spot of your whole entire body. And people like, when people get older, they're like, what the hey happened to my neck? I'm like, you forgot about it. That's what happened. All right, so go ahead and grab your cleanser. Now yours is going to be white because you're normal to dry versus combination to oily. Combination to oily, you're going to have larger pores. It's just naturally going to happen, but we're going to age faster, so don't think they're off the hook. Okay, so go ahead and just do circular motions all over. Now, obviously, what I'm going to have you use is our brush. We actually, did you see that video the other day? Did I post it? I have a video of this girl putting foundation on a strawberry, and she just uses her fingers to wipe it off, and like obviously the foundation goes all into the pores of the strawberry. Same thing, and she then takes a brush, and she gets it off. And it's like literally lifted. So this is going to help if you're like, oh, my pores. Like this is really what's going to help. And it's also going to get 87% more off of your face versus just with a washcloth. So you're lucky. You get to try that. Go ahead and literally just do circular motions. You guys are going to get a washcloth, okay? So what I'm going to go ahead and just
It
give you.
feels weird.
Doesn't feel. It does. You can like take that off and actually get a massager. And a lot of people don't realize like that's what's going to help kind of like your elasticity of your skin. But when I give you your washcloth, make sure you go up and out. Most women want to drag down. Girl, gravity's already headed there. Fight that as best as possible. Your nails are cute.
Thank
Oh my gosh,
you.
I need to show you these. Can you give me one? Did it die? Did it die?
It's still playing. It was just
Maybe
quiet.
it's close right here.
I'm gonna music now.
I think we got louder, and I never turn my music.
Really
off.
get in there.
Really get it, girl. Get it. I'm actually gonna give you a washcloth too. But at home, if you were to use that, then you just take it right off. Are those your lashes? Or do you have lash extensions?
So these are mine.
Holy cow! Like, pre-COVID, I paid for those. I'm like, that's what mine looked like pre-COVID.
I use a lash serum that's $150 for one tube, but it works.
Yeah,
It
I
does
had
its thing.
no lashes, so we have a lash serum that's 38. It's amazing. I'm literally, guys, my girlfriend was like, I'm gluing to your eyelids, so I'm gonna like put you on a pause for your lash extension. I just like, I lose a lot of hair, you know what I mean? Some people like really grow their hair. So this was like a couple weeks. I'm like, thank the Lord for a serum because I literally was like, cancer of the eyes. It was not good. Not good. Not good. All right, you guys, so the next thing I'm going to talk about is, well, let me ask you, how many layers of skin do we have? Okay, you're right and wrong. Keep going. Who said that, by the way? Okay.
Epidermis, your epidermis?
Oh, she's
I don't
like
really
science
know.
mode over here.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
She's book smart. I am, but I don't know what it is.
Okay, so we have 3, you're right, especially around our eyes, but we actually have 7 when it comes to our face. And so a lot of times people are trying to topical treat, right? What I said, like, we're trying to go, okay, well, I have acne, so I'm in topical treat. And that's really like, let me go back to your cleanser. That's like what a cleanser is going to do. That's clean and clear, Clearasil, Noxzema, Neutrogena, Oil of Olay, Aveeno, the list goes on and on. It's because it's topical. Why do you think men grow older more gracefully? It's because they're exfoliating every time they shave. And so we need to put an exfoliator, I'm not a shave, but just put an exfoliator right in there. And then a toner is built in here, which is going to help that certain hormonal time of the month. It's going to help even you out. And then a brightener. So all of that is in here, plus anti-aging. But the problem is that a lot of times people are like, okay, well, I have blackheads, so I'm going to use these viewer strips and all this stuff that's topical. When really we need to get a little bit deeper than that. 7 layers of skin, once or twice a week. You and I are only going to do this once a week. You guys could really get away with this doing it twice a week. Combination to oily skin, you're not going to really affect it if you over exfoliate. So once or twice a week, I want you to get down there. So a few doors down, I'm really nosy, I think it's so. I just looked up their prices. You guys, you can pay up to $150 for 1 microdermabrasion. It's going to feel amazing. They're going to like scrub your face and it's going to feel awesome. But you guys, the same dermatologist and #1 plastic surgeon in Hollywood came up with our formula. He then released it and gave it to everybody else. It's 32 cents every time I use it. So here's what I'm going to have you do. This is one of our last wet messy steps, but I actually would have you leave this right in the shower. So chest, back, arms, if you ever break out there, it's just an infection, you guys, that's here that we need to get down there and clean it up, okay? So I'm not going to leave you lopsided, but I just want you to go ahead and wet your right side of your face, just so we're all tracking on the same page. I'm going to have you avoid always your eye area. I'm going to talk about how eyes are different, so just forehead, cheeks, nose, and chin on that whole one side. Just take half of your micro, step 1, it's called micro 1 refine. So we're just moving right in order. I know I covered a little bit of yours up. So just take half of it. And here's what I don't want to see. I don't want to see this. I'm like, sisters, like seriously, just really nice and light. It's actually supposed to work for you. Okay, so you don't actually need a brush or anything like that. I know it sounds weird, but like right in here is such a culprit, you guys, for bacteria. So like make sure you really get inside that nose area, whole side. This works amazing. My husband, this is probably his favorite product. So
I like the way it feels.
I do too. So if it feels like, oh my gosh, this is really gritty, don't be afraid to re-wet. There's 2 products I'm going to beg you to throw out. 2. Well, and none of you said them, but if you walked into the mall, I don't know, I don't like malls open. If you walk into a mall and out of a vending machine comes skincare, what am I talking about?
You see those everywhere.
You said it, not me. So literally, if you research that, it's almost the equivalent of household ammonia and household bleach. You guys, it's
Oh
so
my
bad for your
gosh.
skin. So with your washcloth, go ahead and take that off. I actually wouldn't even have you use it, especially if you are highly sensitive. I would just say separate your mask out. Tonight I'm going to almost do like a multi-masking where we're doing mask after mask. But I would just say separate your exfoliation pieces out. So yeah, it's crazy how bad it is for your skin. And then when people are using this, they're like, oh, this kind of feels like my apricot scrub. I'm like, okay, great. So anything apricot, oatmeal, cucumber scrub, any of that, you guys, I literally am like, please, seriously, just chuck it. Because if you look at it, you're like, oh, it's apricot. That's so healthy for me. I'm like, oh, really? Flip it over. It's walnut shell mixed with sand and fiberglass. Oh, awesome. That's what what's the Kardashian chick's name? Her skincare line got sued. Like, it's not even on the market. It was like, because literally people were like bleeding outside of their pores because she had walnut shell in there. Yeah, great. So here's what I'm going to have you do. Just feel the difference in your skin. If you get a little bit red, obviously, you just have that undertone, right? You're like, girl, I'm used to it. I would say use it at night and do it once a week to start if you're not yet using it. But like feel inside your nose area too. Like, holy cow, girl, I can like see. So obviously, if you were seasoned, right? If you were like my grandma's sitting here, I would say like you would be able to see and feel the difference. But I do want you, I'm like, I can see you. I'm like, see, look at that, just pop right out. And if you just hold it on arm's length away, look at how much brighter that side is versus that side.
It feels softer.
Yeah, I'm like, that's crazy. And if you are a foundation wearer,
On.
I am going to put foundation on you today. So if you are naturally a foundation wearer, and I'm going to talk about how it's our skincare layer at the end, you will see that it will lay so much cleaner and nicer because it's not having to like fill in all the crevices. So let's go ahead and rinse and repeat, and then I'll take your bowls away. Okay. So just go ahead and wet the left side of your face. Use the rest of that micro. So this always comes in a 2-step system. Just today, I'm going to let you do our charcoal mask. So I'm obviously going to have you pause on a system. But if you're like, that charcoal mask is fun, I'd probably never do it again, you would obviously just micro and then come back and do the second step. I always love when people are like, oh, I actually found a 2-in-1 micro at Meijer. I'm like, oh, that's cute. Like a 2-in-1 shampoo. I'm sure that looks great. I'm sure that's amazing. So yeah, just that, still that, step 1. Yep, so it's 32 cents every time you use it. My girlfriend had a day spa in San Francisco, and she literally, she would have people close their eyes and like lay down. And she's like, okay, I'm gonna start doing my visualization. You guys, it was Stanford, so she charged them $375 for this that you're doing right now. It's 32 cents. I was like, talk about a profit margin. Now she shut her day spa down. Now she's the national sales director, Crystal Chodnowski. And yeah, we're gonna pray for her. I think her last month's check was 90, maybe 4,000. I don't know.
Oh, jeez.
James the white. All right, guys. So whenever you have that off, so I'm going to talk really briefly about our charcoal mask. So it is the #1 charcoal mask in America right now. Please, although it's super fun to watch people on social media flipping out over a peel-off mask, please don't ever
That doesn't
do
come
stuff.
off.
Right? Oh my gosh, it's like, yeah, I love watching people. I'm like, okay, what's happening?
This
Okay.
is by far my favorite mask.
It's so good, you guys. First of all, it has a patent pending ingredient in there. We actually hold more patents than any other company. But what it's going to do is if you have acne scars, new acne, old acne, if you have sun damage, it has something in there called navy bean. Navy bean is really only found in Korean products because what it's going to do when it's crushed up is actually going to help even out the skin. And so a lot of times, like discoloration of the skin, things like that, it's amazing. It's going to smell like you're using Noxzema, but it's actually going to be rosemary is the detoxing agent in there. So please don't ever use a mask without a brush. Guys, all of our brushes are a lifetime guarantee. So literally, if the brush breaks, it now got formulated to this brush because they're like, it's silicone, it's easier. But anyway, so no matter what brush you get of ours, if for some reason like the head popped off, it dropped in the toilet, the dog ate it, whatever, I don't care what the reason is, we'll replace it for life, which is cool. So I would leave all, like, just go around your nose rings. So go ahead and mask away, my friends. Everything but your eyelids. You don't think I have to say that. There are reasons I have to say that. I'm like, what is happening? People, I like come back and I'm like, are you like this is Avatar? Like, what just happened? Why can I only see your eyeballs? Oh my gosh, I had this like Haitian girl do everything, and I walked back in the room and like, I was like, girl, I can see your like whites of your eyes, and that's it, boo. Got you.
That would have been me.
You're like, I'm glad you told me. So good. So are you guys married, dating, kids? What's your guys' story?
You guys have never been together. I was like, is there something I need to know?
No.
I have a almost 4-year-old, but no, I'm by myself.
How-
Don't say it like that.
I could have a whole football team.
I don't know about that one, but
I love. What's his name?
Carson.
Okay. And were you doing school or what?
Yep, he's in. He goes into DeWitt Looking Glass Child Development Center.
Okay.
So he goes
So
there.
what are they? Because of their age, are they like wearing masks all day? Like what are they?
When he turns 4, he has to wear it to and from the classroom. He's not 4 yet, so he gets away with it. But no.
I know that for everything it's worth. I'm like, come on, Jasmine, you ain't
It drives me
5. Come on, girl.
Yeah.
Like, it drives me.
I went into the store the other day with my 4-year-old and I forgot to grab his mask and he was like, Mom, I forgot to put my mask on. I was like, you're fine. I'm not running out with the truck. Let's go.
Wow. And what it's doing here, like our kids are asking for their masks. Like it's just insane.
Yeah, the fact that my 4-year-old remembered that he had to grab his mask, I was like, oh my gosh.
So what were you doing this school? Are they?
They're virtual, both of them, so I have to stay home right now. I'm on FMLA
Okay.
leave right now, so which kind of works out because then I get to focus on my wedding.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's kind of nice.
17. Just remind me.
Yeah.
Just in case you forgot. Just put
Like
it
I didn't realize I'm getting married in 2 weeks.
Isn't that so fun? Oh my gosh. So what all do you have left to do?
Everything.
Okay, great. You're like totally my girl. I'm like,
As I'm over here, like,
you
everything.
probably stress her out. Are you like a last minute or are you a planner?
I'm a
Oh,
planner.
she's
Yeah,
a
you
planner.
totally gave me the vibe of a planner.
Like an over planner.
That's why
Yes.
I'm the maid of honor.
Yes. So fun. I'm like, I don't know. Like, we're just gonna wing it. You want to travel with me? Just grab underwear. Like, I'm so that girl. Like, I'm like,
They're
yeah.
both planners, and I'm like,
You're like, they're good. We got this.
Figure it out.
Yeah. So literally, what all do you have left to do?
I still have to do a lot of my signs, like make a lot of my signs.
Okay.
I still have to like buy the alcohol.
So where is it at?
Willowwood Farms.
Okay, I'm not.
It's a
It's like
okay.
a barn. kind
yeah,
of.
it's a barn.
Oh, I think that's where Ashley got married. Bird bus.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was like that. That's why it sounds familiar. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, it has like
Gorgeous.
a field and there's
Yes,
cows and
yes.
chickens and
Yeah. So pretty. So how many people are you like limited on that?
we can have 100 people. Only 30 can be in the barn right now. But that actually just got raised up a couple of days ago, so I'm super pumped because it used to only be 10 because of COVID.
Which was like the bridal party, the
Right.
DJ, the food person.
You're
and
like,
then,
here we
a-
are. Like, sorry, you can't
Yeah.
come in. Like,
Yeah.
I got you. Like,
I was like, is everybody gonna be dancing outside of the barn? Like the DJ's inside.
you're
so,
like, come in. Never mind. I got you. Like,
Like,
good.
yeah. So,
Wow.
but now we can have 30. I just hope she goes inside and doesn't watch us. So we can like, sorry,
Yeah.
I can't count.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You're like,
I hope they're just not super tight because if it can only be 30 people, I might lose my mind.
Yeah, I just like literally one of my last brides was like I had to call yesterday and uninvite people. I'm like that just to me like how do you even do that? People
Yeah.
have flights and kids like taken off of work like and here you are just like
Sorry,
Well,
you can't
yeah.
come. Like, not to mention an outfit. If I bought an outfit, someone said no.
Well, how do you
you're
know?
like
Outside.
I'm coming and going. I'm gonna be outside, but wow.
I don't even know how you decide who comes in.
That's just it too. And like to get that call to be like, you're uninvited. Love you. But and I just think people are getting like we have a whole bridal team that does like hair and makeup. We travel for that. And I mean my girlfriend had a wedding yesterday in Traverse City and I'm like, on a Thursday? But people are just trying to fit it in because they've been canceled because of COVID. So they're just doing like long extended weekends. I mean, we went on Wednesday, Sundays, like tons of Sundays. I'm like, man, it's just taking people outside of what they're used to, you know?
Yeah.
Which
Oh,
I think is crazy. Okay, we're typically going to leave that on for 20 minutes. Not obviously not here, but at home leave it on for 20 minutes. You know the routine. Yours is going to get dry really fast. Yours is probably going to feel tighter than yours right away. And you did yours a little bit. I mean, like you're.
I was like, I feel tight.
Yeah, I'll feel tight. All right, you guys. So I'm gonna go ahead and have you take this back out. I'm gonna steal these and also your washcloths. So go ahead and take yours back out. Okay, I always just give this time really quickly just to tell you very, very briefly about myself because I know you're dying to know. And Mary Kay. So actually flip it over to the back if you don't mind. So go ahead and number. I'm gonna take you through some school. Go ahead and number it 1, 2, 3, and 4 all the way down. Literally, I think I'm gonna do this instead. I'm gonna take a picture of your nails when we're done. Don't let me forget.
Okay.
Look at how cute that is.
Oh yeah, she went and got her nails done without me.
Where do you get them done at?
I get
JL
them at JL.
nails.
You told me you didn't want to go.
You're like, she was like, I was lying that I saw your nails.
Yeah, but then you let me not go and I chopped all my nails off.
You did that before I made an appointment. honey. Sorry.
I used to do like seriously the longest nails, and I'm like, short isn't.
No, I do short nails, but I still chopped them off.
No, okay, well I don't. I do the dip. What do you do?
The dip.
The dip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I cannot do shellac. It like literally falls right off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can like really extend the dip. Where you're like, I'm like, I think this is 3 weeks.
Yeah.
This is 3 weeks, but
Yeah.
like I said, I cut
I
them.
mean, I know
They
they
were long.
Okay, so on this 1, 2, 3, 4, really quick, while your charcoal mask is drying, I always just steal the time really quickly. So if you leave with nothing else, here's what I want you to know. Every time that you choose to wash your face with Mary Kay or purchase a Mary Kay product, I'm gonna actually test you, girl. Do you know what our 2 missions are? Like, what are our 2 things that we give back to?
I have no idea.
Okay, great. So one thing is fighting women's cancers. So you guys, I studied actually at Grand Valley, so I'm more in the Grand Rapids area. And it's so funny because people are like, oh my gosh, you were on TV, because that's what I studied for. I was a television reporter and an anchor. And then they were a little bit less impressed. And I'm like, yes, and I made $15,000 a year with a 4-year degree. And I'm super glad I'm not a reporter right now. Can I just say, you know,
That's all reporters make.
yeah, it's awesome. Yep. And my first day on the job, get this, the guy's like, they're like, oh my gosh, are you married? I was like, I'm engaged, though I'm really divorced. I was like, welcome to day one. And so, so my mom got sick, and so I moved back. She was diagnosed with stage 4 brain cancer. I lost her about a decade ago. So when she was sick, I was like, I'm just going to move back. I stopped my television career. I had already had this in my back pocket. You guys need to be honest, just for the discount. I was like, listen, Linda, I ain't going to do any of that. What she's trying to tell me to do, I'm just coming in for the discount. But I always just say it's really funny when God throws your curveball and you're like, oh, here I am. And so the second thing that we give back to, so $5 million you guys are giving back to find a cure for women's cancer. So I just think that's awesome. And then the other thing that we give back to is fighting domestic violence. So obviously, I was an Estee Lauder snob. I thought that, speaking of grandmas, I thought like Mary Kay was for old ladies, big hair grandmas, you know, like red lipstick, blue eyeshadow. Like, so when my girlfriend invited me, I literally walked in. You guys were a lot nicer. Thank you. I walked in like this, like, oh, what is she gonna like trying to put on my face? Because I thought it was gonna be all makeup, which a lot of it back then was. But we get back to fighting for domestic violence, and one out of 3 right now are silently affected. So we open up 250 safe homes every single year in the United States.
We need
awesome.
those.
Seriously, so Grand Rapids, Kalamazoo, and Detroit have all been recipients of our of one of our Mary Kay grants. So when I was buying Estee Lauder, I'm like, cool, great product. Ask me what their purpose is. I have no idea. Like, nobody ever told me. They never remembered my name, right? So I always say, like, this is more of like a relationship. So why did I have you write down 1, 2, 3, 4? Because I never know. Forbes magazine right now just said that 96% of women in the next 2 years are going to be looking for a side hustle. 96. And so I think like some people just are like me, like, give me the discount, girl. I'll take that and run with it. Some people are like, I'm gonna use some side hustle cash. And then some people are like, show me the leadership position. So this is what Forbes magazine just says, like the top 4 reasons why people are even looking for something on the side. You all already know. What is number 1? Why would somebody start a side business?
Money.
Money. Write it down. Number 1 is money. All right. So here's the deal. I don't think that money buys you happiness. Good help. But I do think it buys you choices. Right? I'm just going to talk to you like as a mom when I tell my kids no because they don't need. I've been there. It's a lot different than telling them no because I don't have it. That's a lot different emotion. And people are like, oh, I don't need more money. I'm like, cool. Like, let me ask you, like, obviously I know we can't travel, but like, could you travel more? Could you shop differently? Could we eat differently? Could you live differently? Like, what is it in your life? We need more choices, right? And so 18 years ago, when I signed that beauty agreement as a broke college sophomore, like I never thought I would be here. And here's pretty awesome. I'm going to tell you, here is retiring my husband 8 years ago. Here is like now, pray for me that I just became a homeschooling mom. Like I'm not doing even the virtual. I'm like homeschooling my children. It's great. I love it. So my oldest is going. He's like a freshman. He's like, peace out, mom, bruh. Out. That's literally what he calls me, bruh. And so, it's awesome. I just saw me the other day. It was like, you were never ready for going from mom to like mommy to mom to bruh. I was like, that is totally right. And so I just think it's choices. And that's really what it's about. We all need them. And I think Forbes magazine is like, people are sick of not having choices to find out what they're worth, you know? So if it's like, okay, I'm going to stick it back here and who knows what I'm going to do with that. Number 2 is flexibility. So just put flex. Flexibility is huge, right? And so whatever season you're in, right? I've done it single, pregnant, getting married, pregnant again. I mean, like every avenue, I've done it, whether it's my full-time job, my no job, my side hustle. And so I think just flexibility. I mean, Dave Ramsey, now my husband owns his own business and teaches finance. So Dave Ramsey's like, oh man. But it's funny because he says, if you're a woman looking to go do something on the side, make sure you don't go get another boss. Make sure you become the boss. Because having entrepreneurship in your home and in your heart and in your back pocket is huge. I always say it's not for, I'm sure you've seen those memes. It's not for you to quit your 9 to 5, but it's that if the 9 to 5 quits you, then you have a backup plan. And most people get to that crisis, they turn around, they're like, oh crap, now what? And number 3 is self-confidence. Just put SC, I don't know what you're talking about. Man, I think it's funny. Self-confidence, I can tell you guys all have it, but it's interesting when women come in and they just like literally can't look me in the eye. they're like, I could never do what you do. I'm like, you do. I went to school for television broadcasting. If I can't talk in front of 3 people, we got a problem. Okay, but I can teach you that. Like, I can teach you to have the self-confidence. And I don't care how cheesy you think this is. Like, I heard it one time and I was like, I'm still in that line. Like, self-confidence is huge. I don't think the richest place in the world is Dubai. I think it's every cemetery that you drive by. I mean, like, think about people in your life that probably had dreams, hopes, aspirations, but they literally did not have the self-confidence to just do it. And I'm so grateful that 18 years ago, that social media wasn't really a thing back then, because it pains me when I hear and see girls are like, I think I can really do this, but like, let me just like ask on Facebook if I like, and I'm like, are we serious? Like, we were like bringing people's permission slips to like a business? Like, bro, just do it. Like, if that's what you want to do, just do it. And number 4 is recognition. Just put Recco. Well, you guys walked past the biggest piece of recognition in all of your hey, what is it? Outside. You walked right past it, coming in here.
The sign that says B,
No,
thanks for being here.
You are maybe the first group that did not get it. What am I talking about? Fill that in.
About what was the question?
About what you walked past the biggest piece of recognition that's in Mary Kay in the parking lot.
The sign.
Car.
Thank you.
Yep.
Oh, the car was pink.
Yeah.
That's a free one. So our area just actually the other night.
Technically, I stated that in the parking lot. You did.
So the other night, 4 of our girlfriends just earned their pink Cadillac. You guys, our area has earned, now that I'm adding it up, 45 free cars in the past 5 years. I'd love to show women how to earn cars, because when I take you back to money, and I'm like, I'm sorry, what are you paying for car payment?
You don't want to know.
Yay! Like, what if Mary Kay said, here's your silver platter, you can take the keys, you can take the travel, you can take the diamonds, you can take the car, like, why are we doing this? Like, girl would be like, I'm taking it all. Okay. So here's the thing. So when I came back and it was like, my husband was like, I think you should do this. If you're going to raise our kids from home, like, give it a go. Like, actually see if it'll do something. And kind of the rebel in me was like, it's probably not going to work, so I'm going to prove to you that it doesn't. And in 13 months, we had earned all the level cars. So the first one is the Malibu. The second one is the Equinox. Third one, we actually need to switch this because it's a Traverse, a Camaro now, or a truck. And then obviously this is what you saw in the parking lot. And then this is what we actually get this month. So I don't know where the phone call is, but it's a limited edition XT6. So new car every other year, tax, title, license out the door. 86% of my insurance, my husband is insured for free. My kids can get on it for very low when they start driving if they're lucky. So that is a little bit about how the car program works. If for some reason you're like, I would never drive any of those cars, I'm like, cool, take the cash, $495 to $1,000 every month to do with what you want. So you're gonna just put your pretend hat on for literally 3 minutes.
All of them have to be pink.
No, those are the colors.
Oh.
Yeah, so those are the colors. So I'm like, it's a trophy on wheels, and I could take the cash, I just don't want to. I was literally FaceTiming my girlfriend the other day, Amy, and she was like, I was like in the car, sitting in Battle Creek, out of all places. I was like, let me pull over and talk to you. And I was sitting in Dollar Tree, and I hear a, and she's like, what is happening? Do I need to come get you? And I was like, oh no, it's just something. And she's like this, and she goes, is your car pink? Is it free? And she's like, does this happen to you all the time? I was like, all the time, all the time. People at like stoplights, dudes more like, yeah, like, it's so funny. Okay, so put your pretend hat on for the next 3 tickets. Like, what questions would you have to know if you were ever like, who cares if you're like, I'm not interested, lady? But if you ever were, like, what 3 questions would you have? Like, I don't care what they are, just ask me. So you can get your charcoal mask off.
Where do I start?
Yeah.
Where do I start? Perfect. Okay. So when I, 18 years ago, I signed a registration form to get my starter kit. It was samples of everything for $100. I was literally like, I lived in a trailer across the Marin Valley. My girls didn't have chairs. Like, you're welcome. They were like, I was squeezing like sample packs into like pink old mirrors. And that was like the start, you know. I was like, what is this maybe going to be? Now, you guys, it's most of the products that you're actually trying. It's $480 with the full-size products. That's still $100. However, right now they have a very limited edition offer because of COVID that they're allowing people to do a virtual start. What that virtual start looks like is $30, you guys. Okay, I'm going to wrap your head around this. $30. Mary Kay just got named the 9th company in the nation to work for. It's a debt-free company still ran by her great-grandson. $30 to start. It's a website. It's your 50% off. And it's like a credit card processing system because why have a website if people can't pay online, right? And then obviously I always say, I come out of your starter kit. So I'm your teacher, I'm your mentor, I'm your coach. You can come shadow, you can do whatever. But like literally, if you're like, I'm just here for the discount, like don't call me, I'll call you. I'm like, cool. Like what you see is what you get. I'm like, I am too grown to beg you, right? So if you're like, I think I kind of like want to make this, and you're like, I could kind of see myself in one of those, right? Your training would just look different. So that's how you start. And then there's the third option, 130. Get you both of those, the starter kit plus that virtual option. If you're going to leave something on the table, leave the starter kit. I can always order you one. Do not leave that virtual start. It's usually about $100 or $80, and you're getting it for 30. And it's just so funny. One of our husbands, one of my girlfriend's husbands, she was actually a bride. She came in 2 years ago. She just retired her husband. He's 27, and she earned all three in 12 months. And he did our training the other night. He's like, dudes, I'm just gonna have to say something. If your wife came to you and was like, I want to go to college, you're like, yeah, go for it. It's $60,000 with no guarantee. But then she comes to you and says, I want to start a business for $100, and you're like, I don't know if you should. Like, dude, bro, #obvious choice. I was like, well, he's really laying it down, ain't he? Like, it's crazy to me. They were like, I don't know. I'm like, it's like 4 Starbucks. Like, just give it a shot. For some reason, if it's not for you, you get to send all your unopened product back for 90% of your money. Okay, cool. I think in 18 years, I've had 4 people do it. Like, that were like, that was just not for me. I'm glad I tried. I'm like, cool. Come back to me as a customer. I'll take you forever. It's awesome. Great question. 2 more.
How much do you get based off of how much you use that?
Good, 50%. So skincare, Forbes magazine, Forbes Fortune magazine, it's like an offspring of Forbes magazine, just put out a study that said since March, skincare and color cosmetic sales have gone up 203%.
Oh, wow.
Since March. People are like, are you doing okay? I'm like, we're thriving. This is awesome. Let's say to stay at home pandemic where women just need to spend money, can't get their nails done, can't get their hair done. Like, this is great. And but you think about like Sephora, Ulta, they're like, oh, that's probably your competition. Well, now they're sitting on literally hundreds of thousands of dollars of inventory that has been turned, dusted, like all of that. And I'm like, man, like now who's the head of the game? You know, it's just awesome. We are literally up as a company by like 1,000%. It's insane. It's insane. It's awesome. So 50%. The average like skincare class. So now you can do that all from virtual. Like obviously I gave you the choice. Like I could send you like little packets and maybe like do it all on Zoom, or you can come in person. So virtually it takes about 45 minutes, and here obviously we just like to talk. So typically about 90 minutes or longer. But each session typically is going to last you. My average session is about 600.
Oh.
You make half of that.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's pretty awesome. Okay, one more.
Last question.
I'm going to throw it to you, and then you're going to think of it. It's going to be great.
How do you get your clients?
I show you that. Obviously, I contract with all the David's bridals, and I'm the contract holder for all of them. So I need help, right? Which is why I'm like, Rebecca, like we just had a Zoom this morning. I'm like, it's time to like, we got to get it here. But then I teach you that. A lot of it is like, I'll even give you guys the option to be like, okay, you get to pick 5 people that you would want to refer to that couldn't make it, or like, oh, my girlfriend Susan would love this, or whoever. Tomorrow morning, I'm going out with another consultant. We're putting out like facial bags, so like with business partners. Like maybe there's even one at your nail salon. I have no idea. But it's like sign up here for a free pampering session, and people fill that out. It's insane. Like some will be like overflowing. Some will have like nothing in there. Some will be thrown out. It's like, so we make them super cheap, but we go out and we like blanket the area. So it's just awesome. Facebook too, like people will just add into your group. Like I'm gonna be honest, in February, I had 80 some people on my VIP page. Like I just wasn't like, we're going virtual. Now there's 403, like people just want to add, and it's insane. Like it's crazy what you can do merging both of those together. And you just have to know, if you're like, I want to work it all virtual, I'll show you how to do that. If you're like, I kind of want to do it at both, then obviously you can do that too. So for $30, I'm like, cool. If obviously Forbes magazine interviewed me, which they didn't, my number 5 would be fun. Like I just think like get a tribe of women that like you just have fun with. Like we travel.
That's your personality. I'd be like, I don't talk to people. That's
I
why
was
I
that
could never
way.
do this.
I was that way too. I was terrified.
Oh, I'm not
to
shy.
stand-
I just don't like talking to people.
See, and I was a little bit more on the shy side, but I always had like, I don't like people, I don't want to be around people,
Yeah,
and I was really quiet and reserved, but now coming to the meetings, I'm literally one of the loudest, rambunctious women
Yeah.
in the room.
And I think
like,
it's cool what it's done for you as a mom. And what
Yes.
it's done for you.
it has allowed me to stay home with my son.
Her and her man just earned a photo shoot. Let me tell you, it's the hottest photo shoot ever.
Aww.
I was like, are you bringing the son? She's like, are you bringing him? Like, one of the pictures was so hot. She's like holding his chin and he's holding the Mary Kay product. I'm like, that was the gift that like she earned.
Yes.
So like, that's just it too. Like the fun, the recognition, like the things that you'll never get outside. People are like, oh my gosh, let me see your. I'm like, those are not my husband. That is Mary Kay. Thank you very much. So it's just like the things that people just don't think about. You know what I mean? Like what company is doing that kind of stuff? Like every month you get jewelry and all this stuff. It's like you're gonna have to get a new jewelry box because it's just insane. Otherwise, obviously, just that's what they're talking about when they're talking about recognition. It's the number one reason that people left corporate America jobs over the last 3 years. That's Forbes magazine in their study. People weren't getting recognized, so they're like, we out. That's why I Google Mary Kay. Like people are like, what else can we give our employees to really like shower them with gifts because people are just aren't used to that. So, okay, so this is off your gut, not your girlfriend. If you were ever to do something like this, what would you do it for? Money, flexibility, self-confidence, or recognition. If it's more than one, hey, have at it. Circle more than one. I don't care. Go ahead and circle whatever, okay? All right, so then I'm going to go ahead and have you flip it over. And I'm just going to write it a second. So right here is the A, B, and C. C's I would never. Like, thank you so much. I would never. Like, I just want to be a client. I'm like, cool. We need our clients too. We get back to fighting women's cancers and I do domestic violence. We get our clients too. B is like, okay, like you kind of gave blanket information, but like I want more in depth. Like, could we meet for coffee? For sure. Like, you're like, buy me a Coke, buy me a coffee, buy me a cell phone date. And A is like, for $30, like, home, I'm in. Like, what do I have to lose? So A, B, or C, obviously, that's based off of you, your gut, and the business. So this isn't off of product. This is like, could I ever see myself doing something like C? Probably never. B is like, maybe. And A is like, girl, like, I'm ready. Okay, so let's go ahead and flip over your mirrors. Take a peek at your face. Okay, you guys, I'm just so excited to show you what's happening. All right, so any of the fossils that you see kind of like pulling out impurities, that is all the toxins. 2 times the amount of weight of impurities of toxins coming out. If you see any prominent white spots, congratulations. That's any pimples that you didn't know that you had, or you're like, girl, I knew that they were there. Thanks for pointing them out. Okay, so, and any super dark spots, which is interesting because yours is like pretty dark, but like you're normal to dry. So that's kind of interesting. Because usually normal to dry will get light like really fast. But I think maybe you just had yours on a little bit thicker, which is totally fine. All right, so one more mask before I give you your washcloth. Right above your oval is the number 9. That is your lip scrub. So go ahead and just pick that scrub up and do all over your lips. Oh, if you're the person using chapstick, Blistex, Carmex, the egg, you're literally defeating the purpose because as soon as you put it on, it's actually working against you to dry your lips out.
Mm-hmm. So you buy more product.
Yep, so you buy so smart. So you buy more product. It's actually an ingredient in there called camphor, which is the most drying out agent that you can put in a product. So yes, you're gonna smell it.
What were all the ones you said?
Basically all of them, but chapstick, Blistex, Carmex. The egg is actually like the EOS is getting sued right now, so please don't use that.
Remember we used to like that?
If you cut it, it'll actually contain mold and it'll cause people to break out. All around.
I use Burt's Bees.
Burt's Bees, only one of those actually has camphor in it. From what I've like done.
Yeah, I'm a Burt's Bees person.
Okay. So take your lips off first. So just take the corner of it, take your lips off, and then you can either just hold your washcloth up against your face and just like press it and you'll see how much comes off. Otherwise, just take it up and out. Doesn't matter. It'll just come right off, up and out.
That lip stuff tastes good.
Yeah.
I got it in my mouth.
Yeah, it's like Fruit Loops. It's a sugar-based scrub. So you're like, this is amazing. I love it here.
First, yeah, and then a lot of it came on.
So that mask you could do, the charcoal mask, I like to do it in the order that I'm giving. From here on out, everything's going to fly because obviously you don't sit with anything all the time. But typically I like to do it in the order that I'm doing it once a week, like this. Because I like if I'm getting down to that 7th layer to pull everything up and out, then I want to detox the rest of the impurities, right? So that's just kind of how my mind works. The lip scrub I use once a week as well. So literally everything that I'm having to do. The lip balm that I'll have you guys do, I just have in my bedstand. Obviously, I wear lip products, but I feel like a lot of people complain that their lip products won't stay or they're looking for a stain. And I'm like, honestly, it's because we're trying to just put it on top of dead skin. We do have a lip primer,
Right.
which is amazing. Obviously, think about any time that you like prime, then you want to paint. But it's not like people don't need a stain. They're actually not that great for you at all. But so you just need to like really exfoliate your lips so the lip product can actually stay on. So yeah, check your hairline. The nose is where most people are like, I'm done. I'm like, no, sis. You got like a hole across your nose. Congratulations. And you should see it at home, dude. For real. Like I'm like, whatever you're doing to your face, like do down your neck.
I've never thought about doing my neck.
Yeah. It's the second, like I said, it's the second fastest. We'll talk about it in a second, but it's the place that like we lose collagen at the age of about 20. Awesome. And then that's what helps keep your face nice and tight, right? And your skin. And so think about that. Like men's typically don't have like cellulite and all that kind of stuff because their skin tissues are crossed in between. They're like layers, and ours is like this. So it's like,
How big is so long?
I know, right? I'm like, we birth, we have cellulite, we have stretch marks. Thank you.
They don't even have like a monthly
Right, and that.
period or anything.
Right. Like
What do
yellow.
they have to go through? Shave their face?
That actually helps. I'm gonna exfoliate.
Yes. That's so good. That's so good. You're like slaying it, girl. Okay, so when you are done, go ahead and take. I'm just gonna check really quick before you put the second step on here. There, girl. Okay, so the second step is the pore minimizer. That was from the micro, remember? So that 2-step system that I said, don't ever make it 2-in-1. So now you're gonna come in, you're gonna kind of close the pores up, put the nutrients back in, soothe the redness, all of that. So that's right next to the charcoal mask. So please don't grab more charcoal mask. Okay, so that is your second step, pore minimizer. If for some reason you felt like you did have really large pores, you could do this second one on a morning basis, like before foundation. But don't, I hardly ever say that because people mishear me and they're like, oh, I had somebody the other day, I was like, I love the micro. I feel a little raw. I'm like, how often are you doing it? She's like, yeah, every day. And I was like, oh, girl.
I did not tell you that.
No! When listening, Linda. Okay, so and then your number 10 is going to be your lip balm. So that is going to be vitamins A and E to moisturize you for up to 6 to 8 hours. Comes just like a chapstick. This has literally every one of my kids. My husband, I would use like a chapstick in each pocket, 5 in the dresser, 4 in the car. I'm like, home. What are you doing, dude? So this is going to go help and help kind of moisturize that whole area. And then we're on your bottom row. So if you're ever going to use something more advanced or more anti-aging, like I was saying, I use that system at night. Always use it at night because let's talk about that. I know I'm going to get into that in a second, but that is when we're aging twice as fast versus when we're awake, is at night. So I'll pause on that a second, but if you're only going to use this next product once, use it at night, and it's our lifting serum. So Oprah's people did a study of over 400 different products. So it's going to lift, tuck, and suck. I said, your Spanx for your face. Okay. And this was her number 2. Her number 1 was this big for over $2,000 from Europe. I'm like, totally good as number 2. Thank you very much. So what I want you to do is go ahead and pick it up. It's packed with vitamin C. It's actually the most concentrated vitamin C that you can get without a prescription. Yep, we're on your bottom row. I want you to get a little smell so you can kind of smell that butterscotch. Here's how I want you to put it on. If you just go ahead and kind of tap, always keep everything in your fingertips. Never fear you're losing 50% of it. But just go ahead and kind of tap your jawline. I know it feels weird, but just go ahead and like stir it up, like kind of here, like the base, and then work it up the rest of your face. I know you're like, somebody that forgot about their neck. This is really interesting. So this is going to lift, tuck, and suck, like I said. So people are always like, do you have something like that for the body? Yes, we do. I'm so glad you asked. So it's amazing, guys. It's a target. It's not this big. This would cost me like one butt cheek. But it's a lot bigger bottle. And most women use it here, and back there. It's amazing. Again, those tissues just lay differently. So like that, I don't care how many squats, 3 kids, 30 pounds and years later, it ain't gonna look the same. All right, so that again, all of those were supplements. I'm gonna take you back all the way to the beginning. You're like, whoo, girl, like what? Every single day, what would I do? I'm like, your cleanser. Congratulations, your cleanser. Let's take you to the moisturization. Tell me the fastest way I already told you, obviously, the reason that we have skin issues is other people's dead skin is mostly, but tell me the fastest way that we prematurely age our skin. Like, how do we help advance the aging on our skin?
Just by pulling our face down when we
Okay.
wash our face.
Yeah, so that, what'd you say?
Just not taking care of it.
You're like, yeah, it's so funny that you say that because skin care is not like, oh my gosh, this is so pretty, this is so fun. Skincare, I'm like, come along with me because it's one of those things that you don't really notice until it's like, oh, I'm noticing now.
Yeah.
If it's literally what you do or don't do today is going to show up in 5 to 8 years down the road, right? Which is insane. It's not like, oh, my skin looks so good. I love when these real young girls like, my skin is good, girl. I'm like, I know, let's keep it that way. But the fastest way that we prematurely age is sun. So naturally, what states do you feel like have the most skincare and melanoma cases?
Probably Florida, Texas.
I was gonna say Texas, Florida,
We're sitting in it.
or Michigan.
We actually have more skin cancer and melanoma than Florida and California combined
Wow.
because we don't think that we need it. And when it's like black out, we're not like, did you put your sunscreen on? We are only asking it like in those super hot months. So here's what I want you to know, especially if you got kiddos. I want you to like ingrain this. I never want anything on your face that's over SPF of 35, ever. I never want anything on your body that's over 50. Somebody would see Alice and be like, oh my God, girl, you need to be like 90. Okay, you don't. Okay, that's all it is added chemicals. It pains me when I see moms putting like 90 and they think like, oh, I'm just protecting. I'm like, all it is, you guys, I literally, what I do on my face, when like I do on my kids' face as well. It's insane. So 30, this is SPF 30. We're back to being skin specific. So combination to oily, normal to dry. And there's a day and there's a night. If you were like, this is all new for me, I would actually have you go in one without SPF so then you can use it morning and night. But I really do want to transition you into thinking my skin is doing something different during the day than it's doing at night. So what we're not doing at night, drinking any water. So guess what your skin does? It goes into a dehydration mode. So water, moisturizer is the second reason that we prematurely age. And I know this is like such the like silliest analogy, but the difference between a grape and a raisin. That's what I mean. Like I could literally pull two women and you'd be like, oh, well, she's a smoker. I'm like, no, she probably just never moisturized, to be honest with you. Like it will literally look that different if we're not moisturizing. So what I'm going to have you do is just take a little bit of your day cream. You probably, okay, I like literally gave you like a dot and you're like, okay. But let me just have you start with that. What I'm going to have you do is dot your forehead, nose, cheek, and chin. Just like start with your prominent spots. Obviously, I like literally gave you a dot. So let me know if you need more. I was like, and you get one dot. And I'm just going to have you rub it in from there. This is especially too on right here. It's really where I want you to be moisturizing the rest. But just go ahead and do all over. So this is helping protect, obviously, not just the sun, but the free radicals, the elements, the aging spots, obviously, out in the ozone. Your night is going to help protect. So babies get new skin every single day. Congratulations to them. Once we hit 16, what they do in one, like that's why their skin is so soft, is because they're shedding that dead skin. What we do, like literally as soon as we hit 16, it can take us all the way up to 120 days to get new skin. So that's why at night, your body's in that relaxed state, and it's just, and if you ever wake up and you're like, seriously, I'm like broken out, or like, do I look older? I'm like, you're not going crazy, because that is all happening so we need to replenish that skin. And so what I'm going to have you do is just your night, just try it on the top of your hand. I just want you to feel it. When I was in Estee Lauder Snob, they gave me something so thick, it was like, never really moisturized, and I told them I was normal to dry, so it was really thick. So I love how like light and airy this is. Still skin specific, right? So if combination, like I would literally hate your moisturizer and cleanser. Like I'm like the desert. So even if you're like, I don't really like, I'm not super kind of like normal, it's going to know with your pH system. Moisturizers, a lot of times combination to oily, girls will avoid it because they're like, oh, I have my own. I'm like, oh, that's cute. That's oil. You need moisture, girl. And so if we're not using one that's really good for us, we're actually not making our oil blends work over time and producing excess oil. So just so you know that. All right, you guys, now I'm going to talk about my favorite product. It's literally the product that I came in for 18 years ago, and it's our oil-free eye makeup. You know this is bomb, girl. It's been featured in Allure magazine for the past 12 years as their best beauty buy. Let me just say this, if you're like, oh, I don't wear like mascara or whatever on a daily, this is the place that holds more bacteria versus any other opening in your entire body. I'm going to move on.
I like how you did that.
Yeah, move on, girl. Okay. So this is number 2. So why do you think people have like pink eyes and styes? Because they're just like touching and rubbing. All of that. Okay, there's an inside joke there. I'm not sure I want to know.
Ruby doesn't have pink eye. Let's be clear.
Okay, I'm sorry. That was
Didn't get
a
it from the dog.
sore subject. Okay, all right. So what you want to do is just go ahead and give it a little shake. You want to put those two together because one is for regular mascara, the other one is for non-waterproof mascara, and just give it a little shake. By the way, really quick shameless plug for our mascara. Our mascara is like a water and a beeswax. Most mascara is a tarred fiberglass. Great. So moving on. How long should you keep your mascara?
It says it on the little, there's a thing.
All right.
So I know your blind ass did not read that. Who told you?
No, I read it on something on
I don't know
Facebook.
who
It shows
told
a
you.
little thing. Yeah, like everything has a little thing and it'll give you a number in it.
Yeah, 3 months. I never want it over 3 months. If you're like, oh, no,
What if you don't wear it all the
It
time?
doesn't matter. If it's been opened, literally,
It's
it's just gonna hang.
harvesting ground for bacteria.
Oh, okay.
Well, my life sucks. I wear it like once a month. So
Seriously, like it's just, and I never want you to pump that. I want you to put it in twist because you're just pulling air and bacteria. And that's it.
oh, I twist.
Yeah.
Pumping is known for more clumps.
Yeah. Girl, you are so good. You're so good. Okay, so this is what I want you to make sure that you're doing. Always put on a cotton ball or a cotton round. Just give it like a salt and pepper shake. Don't squeeze it. You'll use way too much. Hold it. Just go down or in. Don't go out because then you're helping create crow's feet. Okay. What we are going to use is your eye cream. You guys, this is the fastest aging, hardest to correct. I always love when people sit down and like, I don't have any sleep, or my mom gave it to me. I'm like, great. On the show The Doctors, they actually talked about why we have dark and puffy circles. And they actually featured this right here. I'll tell you why in just a second. But most people think that it's like from lack of sleep, newborns, whatever. It's mostly us. You guys, I don't know if you've ever done this. You ever done this?
Oh yeah.
We are literally underneath that top layer because it's 3 layers, just like we said. It's 3 layers, and every time that you're doing that, think of tissue paper. You're literally breaking those little capillaries, so it's breaking and pulling together to create blood, and that's what dark and purple and all that's coming from. It's just dry blood pools in there. And so we're gonna help.
I get really purple right here.
Yeah, and so I always tell people like do a skincare item, but also like if you were to use like a cosmetic item, it'd be like an under eye corrector. But here's what we're gonna do. Ring finger is gonna be the weakest finger, so that's what I want you to do around there. So go ahead and pick up olive number 8. This is gonna firm, brighten, lighten, moisturize, protect, all of that. So I want you to share it with the other one. And then I know it's an eye cream. You're like, sis, I know where it's at, but I'm gonna show you anyways. I want you to feel that bone, and I literally just want you to pat. Most people are doing this. And I'm like, that just defeated the purpose of the eye cream. So I literally just want you to stay right on that bone. Yep, take it up on your brow bone if you want to. But I never want to see this. Because I'm like, I literally want you to pat all the way in. And at night, you should see me. I walk on my bathroom, my husband's like, is that gonna? I'm like, it's going to soak in. Don't worry about it. So a lot of times, I don't even like pat mine all the way in. Like, obviously, you can right now. But I like literally just kind of leave it to like let your natural skin soak it up. So brighten, lighten, firm, moisturize, protect. It's awesome. So why was this featured on the show The Doctors? Because, and if you don't believe me, you can Google it. It's disgusting. Eyelash mites. It's a real thing. It's disgusting. So that's where I'm like, don't leave it for over 3 months because they can fest and burrow. So on the show The Doctors, they put a little eyelash mite in a petri dish. They shook this, put it on there, and killed it right away. So I call this your critter getter. Great. Kill your eyelash mites.
I just always think about that story we learned in middle school about crabs and eyelashes.
It's always in middle school. I don't know why people are like, I think I saw that in middle school. I'm like, I don't know, like reverse us, like the crowd that don't tell me how to like do any math problems, but we're like eyelash mites. I think I learned that in middle school. All right, you guys. So the last step. So here's where a lot of people are. I feel like just a little bit on the like misconstrued side when it comes to foundation. So if I sent you to Meyer, what aisle would you go on for foundation?
I wear foundation, but I barely ever wear makeup. So I went to Ulta and they matched my tone, and that's what I got. It's a lotion with a tone, like a tinted lotion.
Okay, so it's
So
like a
I-
CC cream. Probably.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I use.
Okay.
I can't go to the store and buy
Yeah.
foundation.
And
I'm
I
like, I'm gonna be the orange girl.
Yeah. And I always tell people, I'm like, no, like people do this, and I'm like, it's not gonna match, you guys. So you always want to do. I'm like, well, I'm just gonna call it real white. If you were black, I'd match it here. Otherwise, I'm gonna match it here. So CC cream is one of the biggest things. My whole point is that most people are like, oh, I don't wear makeup. So I'm going to kind of take you back and say that we're actually not trying any makeup today. And here in K, our makeup is our eyes, our cheeks, and our lips. So like makes up our features. But you're right when you say makeup, because most foundation is going to be a makeup line. Maybelline, Revlon, CoverGirl, MAC, Tarte, Bobbi Brown. They're all makeup. So it's actually cheaper for them to make a makeup. And so I'm just going to tell you that no matter how much money you're spending, if you're using any of those brands, really Bare Minerals, Bare Essentials, and us, what I have found, and I haven't researched like all of Ulta's, but most, all of our three, I can guarantee, is actually part of your skincare regimen. So I want you to wrap your head around this. I just cleaned it. Now it's almost like your windshield between you and everybody else. Like you're all shedding your dead skin. I'm like, shed away, girl, because you're landing on my foundation. You're not landing in my pores. So this is where I just had a neighbor come over today, and she's like, I'm having a lot of masking. She works full time. An older lady. She works full time at Meijer. And I said, honestly, I need you in a foundation. She's like, but I'm wearing a mask. I'm like, I need you in a foundation. Our foundation, because it's actually going to protect you between everything and the, like you're, like I said, suffocating that whole area. So just think of like before you paint, you want prime. So in your oval is a little primer. Speaking of Ulta, I just had a bride that was like, oh, I just got one from Ulta. And I was like, cool. She's like, oh, mine's not that big. She pulled out of her purse. It was like this big for $48. So I was like, whew, girl. So ours is $20, you guys. This will last me a year. Like if any of your products, I would say your charcoal mask will last you 30 uses, 40 if you're using a brush, like 40 weeks. But other than that, I'm like 6, 8 months, 6 months, I'm like somewhere in that 10 months if you're a penny pincher like I am, like it should be lasting you a long time. So in your oval, I'm gonna have you pick up just pick up the whole thing. And I'm gonna show you where. Keep it right here. And what I'm gonna have you do is just start it on the bridge of your nose and just kind of pat it. I don't wanna really see this. I just want you to kind of press and pat it in, okay? So I am gonna show, I'll show a couple of different ways on foundation. I might try on you like a CC cream mixed with a mineral. I think you'd really like it. Because you're here, you already know what a CC cream is. I want to show you what a matte foundation would be, because it's not going to be heavy. And I think like most people think like matte foundation, they're like, and what I already know what you use. Are you in the Timewise 3D foundation, or are you in like the old matte, or just a mineral powder?
I use the mineral powder. Love that.
Okay.
So much. It like takes away kind of the oily look from
Yeah,
my
yeah, yeah.
I use
foundation.
that, but I use something like that too after I use even my tint, because I don't like looking like
Okay,
it's
so
oil.
Like
So I
shiny.
always,
So why don't I, Christina, I show how I'm gonna mix it. Most people have never seen this, and they're like, they just do it like one right after the other. Okay, so I already know. So again, brushes. I usually do a demo where I take the mirror and I'm like, take a sponge. Don't even get me started. Seriously, on sponges. I was at a bridal event. My girlfriend Lisa cut a girl's sponge.
well, I'm gonna go home and cut my sponge.
Black mold and like bugs came out. I'm like, I'm it out. Okay, so it's
I want to go home and cut my sponge.
so because if you take it, it like streaks like down the mirror. Like if I took foundation, we literally just did this, and I take a sponge, it's like, and it kind of just like fades. You take your fingers are heat activated. You're like using so much product. You take a brush, it's uneven. Just think of like paint. I mean, it's like finger painting a wall, like, right? You just never do it. And so you want a good brush with that. So what I'm gonna do, so I love this because it comes in 5 shades. So you're never like, which shade am I? I'm like, well, you ain't black, you ain't Hispanic, like, we're gonna work it out. So I'm gonna actually put you in, and don't cry when I say this, but a very light, but it's, I mean, because we're white. Okay, so you would actually be a light to medium, like I am. You have a little bit more of like an olive undertone. So, but I'm gonna show you this. So very light liquid brush. Let me show you. With our, so a lot of times people don't realize like our mineral is just all in one versus like a Bare Minerals that they have like 5,000 different, and they're like, you're not gonna look heavy at all. Just put these 5 powders on your face. And so let me just show you. Okay, great. I obviously didn't close it, so let me grab a little of this. Typically what you do, it'd be closed, and you would just do this in the top. Always grab your mineral powder first. Okay, let me show you that. I always love it. And actually mix it.
Oh. So that's what we're putting on after, and you're actually supposed to mix it.
Well, a lot of people don't know how to mix it. They've never seen that concept. The reason is I think it saves you a brush. Okay, saves you your mineral brush. I think it gives you still like this flawless look. Like, holy cow, I'm gonna let you do the rest. Look at that side.
That is a lot nicer. It's not yellow red.
Okay, And it's layerable too, so I'm gonna let you go to town. I'm gonna leave these here in case you're like, Brooke, give me more, and then I'll give you a little bit more, okay? So I like it because it's not going to look oily, and then you're not doing like multiple layers. So that's what I tell all my oily girls. A little bit more and then mix it. I want you to try mixing it. So solving the world's problems. Somebody was like, if I don't have a tray, then what? I'm like, solving the world's problems here and here. Okay, I just have you do it on your hand. Just don't do it in the top because it'll get really chalky. Okay, so just grab that first, mix it in there, ready to rock. All right, we're doing what I'm going to try on you. My question for you, and I'm just doing it so Rebecca can hear me ask it because I already know what I'm going to put you in. But would you say what happens when you are in the sun?
Okay, but that is pretty impressive. It just covered all my hormonal.
Isn't that crazy?
That is pretty nice.
And that's not even a full coverage. So
I know, and
every day.
I hate the feeling of foundation. That's why I don't wear it. I hate it.
And that looks
I
so
don't
good.
feel
But this
foundation.
doesn't feel like anything. It is really nice. My mom would like this too.
That looks so good. What happens when you usually are out in the sun? Do you burn?
I become a lobster.
Okay. Does it become a lobster and then you tan?
Nope.
You just get straight red.
Oh yeah.
And she was back to
Really?
Oh, I
This is
burn
badass.
like no other.
I would have put her in an N. So I'm learning, Rebecca.
Don't I burn like a lobster and nothing comes about it. The only
You can bake and bake really well.
I bake and bake fantastically, but I cannot get color from the sun.
Really?
Cannot get color from the sun.
That is so interesting.
No, it's not.
hate it.
I hate it. I don't want to bake and bake, but that's the only way I get color.
Okay, so on yours, where you got tripped up.
I'm still pretty shook on this.
Oh, I never. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna have you put, so C means that you're cool. Okay, so like what happens when you see the sun, you're like, I only burn. So think about like, okay, I turned to a crisp, right? So circle C and then put 110 in there. So I'm gonna use a different brush just so you guys can see. It's a blending brush. This brush is bomb if you contour, like
I've seen that, but
right there.
I don't know what to do with it.
Girl. Okay, so go ahead and come closer for me. I'm just gonna check that here. So I like this because you can really get into, so I can pat it or I can brush it. Oh my gosh, look at that freaking color. Okay, so I always say pat it around your eyes, right? Because obviously that's a really delicate spot, and then feel free to brush it and rub. Boom. Okay, keep going.
This feels good.
Oh, this feels so good. Okay, so I'm going to take you into a map too because you're here, and I want you to see what it could look. So what happens when you see the sun?
When I see the sun, usually I burn once and then I get dark.
Okay. So what would she be, Rebecca? Do you know?
Warm.
You are on the right track. She'd be a neutral because she does both.
Okay.
She does both. So I'm gonna try you in. You heard my blending brush. Oh, that looks so good. So I'm just gonna on your paper. Can you do me a favor? Can you mark very light and then handwrite in ivory too? Because I don't know.
Give me one of these bad boys.
Yep.
It's neat. It's super cool. I've seen them before, but I was like,
Whenever
oh,
I
I don't contour.
Yep.
Wow. That's like highlighting and shit.
Oh yeah.
You were so confident, and then you were like, "Wait, right?"
I'm just making sure.
Like you could be dangerous.
You're sitting there like looking over your eye. I feel like I'm like waxing my stash.
What?
So on brides, what I do is I actually do the mix of those. So I actually take that foundation, it's our matte, and I mix it into the mineral because it looks like literally it's like an airbrush.
This is pretty nice though.
Yeah.
I like this one.
I just like that I don't feel like I'm wearing anything. So I hate that.
Yeah,
It drives me
isn't that
nuts.
awesome?
I feel like I can't get over this brush.
Yeah, you're like, I heart this brush. I'm gonna be honest. I heart it. Well, I usually show a finishing spray, but I think it's in my glamour bag for my wedding, so I'm so sorry. But we're just going to pretend, right? You all have finishing spray. It's going to be great. So that's like a hairspray for the face. So if you are like, oh man, I still feel like I'm getting some like come off in a mask, or if I feel like I'm on a phone and it's like all over my phone, then just finishing spray. Because literally I can do a bride's makeup at 7 a.m. and I know it's like the jam on it, yeah, even at 2 a.m. Like I just know. It's just finishing spray.
Do you remember when we used to actually use hairspray?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I tell this story all the time. I was like at prom and I couldn't move my face because it's freaking Aquanet.
We were going to the movies.
Yeah. You're like, it wasn't prom, boo. It was a movie day.
God, you don't know what's going on.
It's so funny.
It is really weird.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Oh, here's my finishing spray. See? Look at that. Okay, that's really awesome. Go ahead and close. So an X and a T. Just watch me do your friend. Okay, you can relax your face. I'm not gonna punch you, okay?
I was just thinking about that hairspray.
Okay. X and a T. So you just want to hold about an arm's length away. You don't want to be this close because then you're gonna be like sopping wet. Okay.
Yeah, they're kind of pretty.
Okay. Good, girl. You're like, do I blend?
Am I blended? Yeah, you did blend pretty well.
Look at how much I didn't use. Like that's.
As you and I were like, like I still would put more on my cheek right here.
You're like, remember when I said I didn't do my neck? My chest and my body is all that color. Oh my gosh.
A little bit goes a long way. That's why it lasts.
Maybe for your small face.
My face is not small compared to you.
All right, guys, brush cleaner. So many times people are like, I have brushes. I'm like, cool, how often do you clean them? You're like, I have brushes. I'm like, cool. So brush cleaner, $10, you guys, just get it. It'll last you your life. And look at how rough I'm being with the brush, because right, I'm like, if something happens to it, they're gonna replace it. Like all of you is coming out of here, which is great. Here's what I love about it, and I'm gonna clean it one more time, but I want you to feel this. It's dry right away.
Wow.
Guys, I've done so many bridal parties with some like not good makeup artists, and I watch them go from face to face to face.
Oh.
And I watched one use her brush, licked it, put it on the bride's eyes. I was like, I am done here, done. Like disgusting, right?
That's how you get pink eye.
That's how you get more than pink eye.
So it's awesome. You just want to be clean. The thing that I love about it is if you're like, oh, I forgot to clean my brushes, and you're like getting ready, I'm like, just clean them really quick. That's what I did this morning. And they're dry, so you don't have to wait on them. So it's
I like
awesome.
that it's spray. Like I have brush soap that I have to actually, and
Yes.
I never wash them because
Yes.
I don't want to wait for them to dry.
Exactly. That's most people say that. I used to use something from Sally's before this, and it would take forever. I'd be like at a bridal party with like 7,000 brushes because I'm like, no, I gotta wait for those to dry. So,
Yeah.
all right, you guys, go ahead and flip over your laminated sheets. I'm gonna grab one to follow along. So these are our David's bridal deals that I kind of told you about. So you guys are different because you obviously came with a bride, or you are the bride. So it's just a tad bit different. Where you guys get the
I don't know.
I'm real excited over that foundation. What happened? I'm like,
You tried my brush.
oh my god, that literally almost just fell on you. That is awesome. Hold on. Oh my gosh.
Telling you this brush does something. Dude.
That is a whole new level. Don't move. Not like for real. I was totally kidding. I was like, I just saw it crashing down on you. Okay, so right here. Woo, we overcame that. Foundation is good. All right, guys. So right on here. Really quickly, I'm just going to kind of explain these different boxes. I'm going to go through them really fast because you've obviously already tried them. So I'm going to be talking about your tray as well. But if you look at your number one really quick, that is, if you look in your tray, that's your 1, 6, 7, and 8. Right? So because we don't test on animals, I didn't even tell you all that. We're based on Dallas, Texas. We don't test on animals. So we test on people. And when we first came out with this line, we actually gave it right to all these women. They came back and they said, I felt like I had a miracle in my skin. So the company, amazing marketing team, took that and ran with this. So it's called our miracle set. That's the one that I said she'll be lasting you about that 6 to 8 or 10 months if you're like me. But I'm going to have you pause really quickly because I'm going to have you flip this over. And I just want you to understand really what comes in the starter kit in case you were a B or an A, because you guys actually get 2 of those in the starter kit, plus all your CC creams, plus your critter getter, the oil-free anti-fur remover, plus the translucent powder, which is like a one-size-fits-all, plus your second hands that you tried at the very beginning, plus the mascara. Yep, for $100. I'm going to have you flip that back over. Or obviously, if you just want to be a client, look at that price, right? So 110 for that, or all of it for $100. All right, keep moving. Number 2 is like if you're just getting started, you're like, okay, that was a lot of stuff. I'm totally on board, but like, how do you start me really simple? I would start you with the number 2. It's a cleanser, and then that day cream. I would probably do the one without SPF, so you could use it morning and night, like I said. Number 3 is obviously what Allison's using. That is our clear proof set. Number 4 was your 2 and your 4. Remember, we did divide it today because of the charcoal mask, but it's that micro. This is why the foundation is laying so different today, is because you've microed and you've charcoal masked. But let me just stop you right there, because people are like, I'm just going to micro and charcoal mask. And I would say yes, if you are in a system for cleanser and moisturizer that you're already using or that you need to use up, right? But people that are like, I just use water, but I'll get a micro. I'm like, okay, that's awesome. That's like going to the dentist and being like, don't brush your teeth or floss, just use a crust white strip, you'll be golden. Like, I want you to be using something on a daily, not just get excited about the ones that are on a weekly. Number 5 was your number 5. It's this. The lift and suck. That would be the last thing I would add to any of your regimens. Number 6, I'm going to pause here a second because it's the charcoal mask, but it's actually also the, we don't even have it up here, the gel renewing mask. And that is the bestest case scenario. That is what I tell people for masking. You need to detox, but you also need to hydrate. Like I said, that area is so suffocated from air, it actually needs hydration. And so on an opposite night, you would actually use a hydrating mask. And a lot of combination to oily people are like, I don't think I want hydration. Yeah, you do. Like, it's amazing. So you would do 1 charcoal mask, skip a couple nights, and then do the hydrating mask. So that's a multi-masking set. Comes with that brush too. Number 7 is whatever I put on your face. It always comes with your foundation primer and your brush. Then you get to choose. So if you're like, I want both of those things, if you're like, I like my brush versus hers, and I want mine, like, it'll be whatever you want. Okay. Number 8 is your Critter Getter. New mascara. It's old. just saying I like it. And then a lash primer as well. So I would say the way that I use a lash primer is I put a quick coat of mascara and then do a lash primer and then do more mascara, because it'll look like you just put it on all day. So that's the intention of a lash primer. If you're like, I would like.
What do you mean by it looks like you put it on?
So that's the finest hair follicle. Like, yours looks like you just put it on. So if your hair,
I didn't use a primer.
Okay, so if you're, like I said, if yours doesn't fall throughout the day, then you don't need a lash primer.
See, I feel like they did fall, because when I started off it, I felt like they were like
bam.
bam.
So that's what a primer would do. Keep them looking just like that. Yeah. But I would say if you're like, on the lash primer, I know Ruby said, like, I get a lot of purple right here. I would actually take that lash primer out and put in an under eye corrector. An under eye corrector is like an erase all. It's a one size fits all. It's amazing. I just taught them all color class and like, how is your corrector? Like, put a Nike swoosh under there, use that brush, the foundation brush, and just watch it like all go away. It's amazing. And that's the thing too, is like, you guys, if you like come back for a color session, they are fun. They're like 45 minutes. You come with a clean face and like, boop, 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 like showing you how to do. Most people don't do because they don't know how. They've literally never been shown. Or they're just like, they're scared to like learn because they don't want to look like they've had a black eye. So color is fun. It really is. And it can be really natural, or if you're like, no, I want to learn a smoky eye, then come for that too. So, and then your number 9 is what you tried at the very beginning, is your satin hands, and then your satin lips. Number 10 is obviously what Ruby tried, is the brush. This is also lifetime guarantee brush. So if anything ever happened, we could replace it for life. Number 11 is that brush kit. So it doesn't contain any of the brushes that we tried today, but that is a glamour brush set. So that's what you tried at your second appointment. And then your number 12 is a brush, it's whatever that like I didn't put together that you're like, I love it. It's a create your own set. You're like, I love the brush cleaner and I want that brush, but I already have a foundation. So you're just kind of picking and choosing things that I didn't do that you can put together. So here's how it works. All the way at the top is what we call the princess. So if you took any 2 of those and then you did a half off item, like you're like, I love the charcoal mask. That's what I want half off. Cool. If you did the payment plan, that looks like you get your product up front. And there's no interest or anything. It's just, sometimes people like it because it's an easier way. You're like, girl, I'm getting married in 2 weeks. So sometimes it's just nice.
I'm always texting her saying that.
It's always just nice to be able to have that option. If you did, you can do up to 8 payments. So that would be $13 like every 2 weeks. That's pretty cool. Cheap. Right? So if you did the middle one, that's the queen. So let me show you. You get 4 of those. And then your 5th set would be half off. You're about $25 every 2 weeks. 4 steps and a 5th one, so really 5 steps. And you get this bag. Obviously, you saw me grabbing all my products out. I'll throw them all in just a second. This is also a lifetime guarantee bag. I don't know, it's really fun. I'm excited. Each section just comes right off, so you can take it with you, obviously, if you travel. And then, lose my item there. And then, obviously, when you do travel, it's nice because you can just take it, roll it, boom. And then I just stick my straightener or curling iron right in there. And you're all set to go. If you're like, girl, I got a million bags that does not blow my hair back, then we'll choose something else that does. Okay, so that's about $25 about that every 2 weeks if you did the full. And you're like, girl, I'm gonna put down 50 today. I'm like, I don't care what you do. Like, I'm just telling you, like, if you took them all, that's typically about. And then the Cadillac is doing 5 and then plus 7. Can I just tell you, I don't want you to go from 0 to hero. Don't be like, I'm gonna like not use it all. So I really like Queen is typically what most people like because it's like the middle ground, really. I mean, so typically like those 4, I mean, 1 in 7 hands down. But then obviously we can talk about what else. So that does cover all the different things: cleanse, exfoliate, moisturize, protect, and all of that into one. So it's awesome. All right, so what I'm going to have you do really quick, I'm going to go ahead and clean up just a little bit, take these out. So this is where I said right down here, you guys, if you're like, my mom would love this. It doesn't matter now. What COVID has allowed us to do is kind of take the borders off of like, I only saw people in person, but now you guys, I literally send this all in the mail, which is so fun. And so if you have people outside, you can go ahead and refer. I'll give you a ticket for every person you put down. I can meet them in person or I can send them something. And never have I ever had somebody go, I can't believe Ruby gave me some pampering. Like, how dare her? So it's really fun. So I'll let you go ahead and do that. I'm going to go ahead and wash these brushes really quick and clean up. And then I'll go ahead and
Why do you
give
guys have somebody to just write down like that? Like these, you two are the ones I call.
Write down Skylar.
Why?
There you go, you can have her.
Why
You can
not?
put her down.
I guess if you have any mom friends, moms are in dire need. Like I posted in a mom's group and I had like 73 people comment on it. Any type of moms, they are desperate and dying
People's
for
phone
it.
numbers, though. That's where I'm at.
I'll just.
You put your mom down. I can't even put my mom down. She knows the drill.
I don't know people's numbers to save my life. Isn't that sad? We always used to do that.
Do what?
Like, always used to really just grab your home phone and call people.
I never called people.
Yes, you did.
I called you.
Well, that's true. We had to wait till your mom was off the internet.
Yeah, I know, like that. And everybody else's number was stored in your phone. I never had a cell phone, but you did.
That's true.
Hey, you just have to
I have to
text
go through
Derek
my
off your phone.
Snapchat and stuff for it. Oh yes, we can put Kerrigan down.
Yeah. Wait.
Yeah, we'll get to that. Rant's fine. That's all right, don't do that.
So my mom, my sister, the girl I work with, and then my grandma.
Why did you just say grandma from Alabama?
Grandma. My grandma.
My mom. It's who I put down.
I got Shane Skylar.
My grandma will just buy anything and everything.
You
so
put
she's-
Amber
she's
down.
the person.
She's that girl.
She is.
She's that girl.
This is why I probably. I could have Morgan. I
Mm-hmm.
could have invited her to, but I'm
Yeah, you could have.
yeah.